Well, President Trump is reaching out to Latino voters as he's set to speak at the Latino Coalition Legislative Summit in D.C. on Wednesday. I do want to bring in Hector Barreto, chairman of the Latino Coalition and former small business administrator under George W. Bush, for more. Hi, Hector. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Great to be back.
You and I have talked in the past about small businesses under the Trump administration, but this week's event specifically focuses on what the president has done for Latinos and Latino business owners here in the U.S. Why have the Trump administration's policies been so beneficial for that community?
You know, what it's about is creating the right environment for small businesses so that not only do they start well, but they grow over the long term. And what we've seen over the last few years under this administration's policies, it's created a very positive, robust environment for those small businesses. I think I've mentioned in the past, we have 4 million Hispanic companies now. They're generating close to $800 billion in revenue, and those numbers now are doubling every 5 years, fueled by Latinas. Women-owned businesses in the Hispanic market are starting 5 times faster than any other group. So our members are very excited about hearing the president on Wednesday. Not only the president, we're going to have 4 cabinet secretaries with us as well. So it's going to be an exciting day, and we kick it off tomorrow on Capitol Hill at a reception.
You mentioned Latinas, women. Hispanic unemployment under the Trump administration and unemployment among women have both fallen to a record low. What has spurred that growth for Latinos and Latinas in the labor market?
Yeah, all-time historic lows, Greta, as you know, under 4%. When I was in government, we used to say 5% was full employment. We're under that now, and it's for a lot of reasons. There are more jobs being created in this environment. Businesses, especially small businesses, create 2/3 of the net new jobs of our economy. So the economy's been firing on all cylinders. There's dips in the stock market. You can't pay too much attention to that. You really have to look at the optimism of our small business community. By the way, there are 30 million small businesses in the United States, and they represent more than half of the economy. So it truly is the engine that fuels this economy.
You mentioned the other cabinet members that will be addressing this event. Those do include HUD Secretary Ben Carson and Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. What can we expect to hear from them at the event?
Well, obviously, Ben Carson's been working on a lot of issues with regards to housing and also opportunity zones. Education is critically important to the Hispanic community. We have a very young population, and we want to make sure they're being educated at all levels and have plenty of choice. Besides that, we have Secretary of HHS, who's on the front lines right now fighting the coronavirus. I think a lot of our members will be interested on what's going on from the government response. And lastly, but certainly not least, the new SBA administrator, Jovita Carranza, that represents the interests of those 30 million small businesses. She's going to be with us. So it's going to be a very exciting day, a full day, and I know that we're going to learn a lot and be inspired to go back out and create even more small businesses and grow our business even larger.
And of course, President Trump will be the keynote speaker for this summit. What are you looking forward to hearing from the president at this event?
Well, you know, the president's been with us before a couple of years ago, and he talked a lot about what he was going to do. We've seen a lot of those contributions to the economy. You can look at USMCA, the trade agreement. You can look at how he's lowered regulations, how he's lowered taxes, how we're trying to create solutions around our health care disparities and gaps. And so it will be very interesting to hear from him on what's next. How do we keep this economy going for the rest of the year? And what would be new in a second Trump administration? So I think it's going to be very interesting to hear directly from the president. Anytime the president of the United States comes to your event, it's an honor, and we're very excited about having him back with us again. He was with us 2 years ago. And of course, we have all these other cabinet secretaries and congressmen and senators from both sides of the aisle that want to meet our members.
And Hector, real quickly, you mentioned the possibility of a second Trump administration. This is, of course, an election year, and we do have to think in the realm of that. The Latino Coalition, of course, what kind of support are Latinos giving President Trump heading into 2020, into November, for the election?
Well, as you know, our organization is a nonpartisan organization. We work with both sides of the aisle. It's critically important. You know, there's an old saying here in Washington, there's no permanent adversary, there's only permanent interest, and we're focused on our permanent interest. But I will tell you that President Trump got 30% of the Hispanic vote. They're working very hard to grow that share. And I think a lot of small businesses, especially Hispanic businesses, are going to be listening to these candidates and what they're offering. Are they offering to continue our economy growing? And if so, what are the plans to do that? Or do they want to take us back? Because we don't want to go back to what it was in the prior administration when the economy was not growing and small businesses were not optimistic about their future. So it's critically important that we continue this great environment for all businesses, not just Hispanic businesses.
All right, Hector Barreto, the chairman of the Latino Coalition, joining us to preview this week's Latino Coalition Legislative Summit in Washington. Thanks so much for coming on the show today, Hector.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.